Hello and welcome to Fidelity Canada's special live event at the TSX as we launch 5 brand new products in Fidelity's lineup. I'm your host, Emily Anenwevo, and I'm thrilled to be taking you live behind the scenes at the TSX as we count down to today's market close. Now, behind me is the TMX Center, located in the financial district in Toronto. Now, this is a space where many business leaders, head of states, and Canadian figures have come together to mark major milestones. And today is no different. Fidelity Canada will help close the TSX today with a bell ringing at 4 p.m. to mark our exciting new fund launch. Now, we're offering 4 new mutual fund products and corresponding ETF series and a new ETF fund. All of these new ETFs are trading on the TSX right now. So let's dive into these new products and into these new funds with Director of ETFs, Andre Bruno. Hi, Andre. How are you?
I'm doing great, Emily. How are you?
Good. Such exciting times. A fun launch day here at the TSX. Now, Andre, the theme around today's event is also new ways to invest in Canada. If you can tell our investors why Canada, why now?
Yeah, certainly. As we know, AI is a very big theme in markets right now. With AI, there's a lot of talk of building up data centers, building up compute power, talking about the hyperscalers. And all of this new AI economy requires energy and resources as well. Canada is well positioned. As we know, we're a very resource-rich economy, whether it's on the energy side or whether it's on the material side. So if we're thinking about an AI economy and how AI is going to shift how we do business here in the world, Canada is well positioned for that trend.
Okay, let's go through the funds, Andre. What will the new all-Canadian equity ETF fund offer investors?
Yeah, so as we know, as I mentioned, Canada has been doing well. If we look at a pure equity market return perspective, had a very strong year last year, decent returns this year, led by some of those names, those energy names, those material names. As I mentioned, piggybacking off that AI trend, really good time to take a look at Canada now. It's been a little bit underappreciated over the last several years. And, we're bringing this fund to market. And what we're really trying to do within this fund is, try to provide folks, a cost-conscious solution that goes beyond passive investing. So providing opportunity to, potentially provide alpha above and beyond market returns. And I think we've put a really big product together, and I think a lot of folks will enjoy what we're bringing to market.
Okay, let's steer away from Canada and go global now. Of course, Dan Dupont is launching the Global Concentrated Value Fund. This is going to be run by longtime portfolio manager Dan Dupont. Andre, what can you tell us about Dan's new fund?
Yeah, so Dan Dupont, been a longtime portfolio manager for us here at Fidelity. When we first, did a foray into ETF series on some of our existing mutuals, one of Dan's products was one of the first we brought to market, his Canadian large cap strategy. I think what you're getting in his new global mandate is just Dan, everything you love about Dan, his patience, his value investing style under the hood, he's very conscious about preservation of capital. You're getting a lot of the great stuff that he's currently doing under his current mandates, but you're getting it on a global stage. So really, you're getting Dan under the hood, but the world's his oyster now.
Let's switch to emerging markets. Everybody excited about the new emerging markets opportunities fund run by portfolio manager John Dance, a new face to Canadian investors, but been with Fidelity for 20 years. Talk about this new excitement with EM.
Yeah, certainly. EM is, another area of the market that was underappreciated for quite some time, and we're starting to see a lot more interest. And I think what we're seeing now is you are also seeing this AI theme trickle down into, kind of the EM markets. South Korea comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of opportunities out there with regards to emerging markets. Also a great way from a diversification perspective. You're looking at outside of North America, looking outside of the U.S. particularly. Emerging markets is a great area to be trying to find opportunities. As you mentioned, Don Dance has been in the Fidelity umbrella for quite some time now, so not new to portfolio management. We're really excited to bring his mandate up here in Canada.
So let's switch to the last 2 funds. Really excited about the new alternative bond fund. So this is Fidelity's first fixed income focused liquid alternative offering in Canada. What can you tell us more about this one?
Yeah, I think, if we think about fixed income investing over, say the last 5 years, it's been kind of a rocky road. Interest rates have been moving around quite a bit. We had COVID, rates went down, then rates went back up.
Right.
So there's been a lot of rates volatility we haven't seen in quite some time. And there has been a lot of periods where we've seen these correlations of equities and fixed income kind of move positively together. So I think what a lot of folks are looking underneath in their portfolios is, how can I get proper diversification? We've seen a lot of asset classes be correlated. How can I get into mandates that have that proper diversification benefit. So we've been looking at our liquid alternative lineup, and this is an example of that, of how can we get products into clients' portfolios that do provide true diversification under the hood.
And lastly, Andre, our multi-alt balanced fund. Quickly, what can you say about this strategy?
Similar along the lines, right? Folks are looking for that, that diversification benefit, those asset classes that aren't as correlated to traditional equity and fixed income markets. So what you're getting under the hood here is kind of the best of both worlds on both sides of the ledger. You're getting some alternative equities, and you're getting some alternative fixed income in there. So if you're an investor looking for, a well-diversified product that has a lot of multi-strategy product under the hood, this could be a potentially great solution for you.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Andre, I know you have some remarks that you're going to share at the podium. Let you get back to the festivities, and I'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much, Emily.
Okay, thanks, Andre. Now, as Andre mentioned, with our new global concentrated fund, you'll get access to high conviction, value-oriented investments selected by veteran portfolio manager Dan Dupont. We caught up with Dan earlier to talk about how value will play a role in his new fund and what his years of investing has taught him along the way.
Value to me means valuation and means focusing on protecting capital. But we've seen over the last 25 years that there's a lot of value traps around. It's easy to just do the simple work and get it completely wrong, right? So I'd rather be approximately right than exactly wrong. So if you focus too much on the numbers, on valuation, sometimes you forget how much the leverage can really sink you, for example, or how much exaggerated margins in the short term can actually really implode your valuation as the earnings come down and your multiple really goes up. So I've tried to be a little bit more flexible than the typical value investor of the 90s or 2000s by really looking at all aspects around valuation to truly protect capital. Everything I've learned as an analyst and a portfolio manager take me to today. I've learned a lot of really important lessons. One, obviously, that you can see in all my products is that I manage fairly concentrated. I try to focus on the few companies that are truly worth owning. Obviously, you need to do deep work and to understand them very, very well, and for them to have balance sheets that are warranting such a large holding. But we have the analysts on the ground to help. We meet with these companies all the time. And so over time, it really has helped to focus on 30 to 50 different companies in my portfolios. I think the hardest lesson in investing, you need to keep relearning. It's that styles go in and out of favor, and styles can be in favor for a little longer than you think. Valuations can go farther than you would believe. So I've had to remain really, really focused on my process and truly believe in the process working over time. So when you work around a process that is proven and that you believe in, time is your friend eventually. And the farther away from normal valuations the market will go, the better your prospective returns are going to get, but the harder it will be to stick to your process. In the last 25 years, what's changed the most is the intervention of central banks. It's the intervention of governments. So deficits have exploded. Central bank holdings have exploded. So we're now used to it. But 25 years ago, having so much involvement from central banks and governments was something that was very foreign. It was marginal. It was more around interest rates, and that was it. And governments were not really interacting that much with central banks. Now the deficits are so big that technically they're not, but they are. So that's truly been a massive impact on markets. And it has really reduced the downside in a lot of downside scenarios because governments just want to get involved and save everybody all the time. So that it's added a significantly impactful variable to the market, I would say.
Back here live at the TSX. We are less than 5 minutes away until the market close, but I'm here now with Audrey Kim, Senior Investment Analyst for ETFs, and a familiar face here at our fund launches.
Yes.
What exciting times.
Absolutely. We are so excited to be here. Today, we are celebrating the launch of 4 new ETFs, not just 1, but 4. So we're really excited. You could definitely feel the energy in the room. Everyone's really excited to get together and celebrate this milestone together.
Now, if you could believe, Audrey, we've been coming to these opening and closing ceremonies at the TSX since 2018, since we first launched our first ETF at Fidelity in 2018. Can you believe it's been that long?
I can't believe it. I mean, time really flies. I remember we first launched our ETF business here at Fidelity Canada, like you said, back in 2018. And we started off with the dividend suite. Fast forward today, we are now launching 4 new ETFs. We're over 70 tickers now. So lots to be excited about and lots to be proud about.
It's been a huge evolution for ETFs and our ETF lineup at Fidelity Canada. Audrey, if you could just take a step back and talk to the investors watching right now. If they're unsure about investing in ETFs, what are the biggest difference between those products and, let's say, mutual funds? What can you say sort of in plain language?
Oh, absolutely. So the main difference is ETFs sort of trade like stocks. So what I mean by that is they trade throughout the day, meaning you can buy or sell a given ETF throughout the day when the markets are open. In contrast to mutual funds, which are bought and sold once at the end of the day when markets, at the end of the end market close.
Right.
So that's the primary difference. You know, sometimes ETFs can be more cost efficient, not always. So that's always a big benefit of ETFs. But ultimately, ETFs are just a great tool to build diversified portfolios.
Yeah, and absolutely. They're just gathering around here at the ticker board, ready to close the market in less than 4 minutes. Now, Audrey, Fidelity Canada is on pace to making investing in ETFs approachable, relatable, and dare I say fun. I know we have a lot of ETF pop-ups planned across Canada this year. What more can you tell us?
Okay, so we are doing something called ETF pop-ups. This is something I am so excited about. So what we have is a number of ETF pop-ups planned across Canada, anywhere from Vancouver all the way out to Montreal. So what are ETF pop-ups? Essentially, it's our way of meeting investors where they are and bringing education to them when it comes to ETFs. So what can you expect? You can expect education. You can expect candid conversations and just a fun and approachable way to learn more about investing, Fidelity ETFs, and just ETFs in general. So whether you are, new to investing, just really learning the ABCs of ETFs, or whether you're an experienced pro, it doesn't matter. This pop-up, there's always something to learn. And as a big bonus, we always like to have good music, live DJs, and good food. So
it's such a good vibe. I've been to these pop-ups. And what are investors telling you? I know young and old were there. What are they saying about investing in general in ETFs?
There's one thing I have learned or taken away from this event is a lot of people are still unfamiliar about ETFs and still kind of working through some of the misconceptions when it comes to trading ETFs. So we found that this was a really great opportunity to connect with, investors and just help them work through some of the questions that they may have and just share a little bit more about ETFs and how they could be a toolkit for your portfolio.
Okay, Audrey, again, how can ETFs add to an investor's portfolio if they're unsure about investing in ETFs? What can you tell them?
You know what? My favorite thing to say about ETFs is for ETFs, it allows you to be right about the idea, not the company. So it's just a great way to get a diversified exposure to whatever you're trying to get exposure to, whether it be US equities, Canadian equities, a specific theme or a factor. They're just a great low cost or cost efficient way to get exposure to a diversified basket of different stocks or bonds. They're an excellent solution when it comes to if you just don't, let's say such as the all-in-ones.
Right.
If you don't want to have to do all the research and, do all the work that it takes to researching all individual hundreds of different companies, they're just a great tool.
Absolutely fantastic. Now we are less than 1 minute away from the close of the market. Audrey, I'm going to let you get to the festivities,
Amazing.
get to the confetti and cheering, and send you off there. Now we are just moments away from the ringing of the bell from the market close. Fidelity Canada is so happy to be here to officially close the market today as we launch 5 brand new products. Let's go through the rundown of the list right here. The Fidelity Global oh, that looks great. Cheers. Cheers to our fun launch. Let me just get to this list. So the Fidelity, 10 seconds left. Let's go to the market close right now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's it, folks. We are officially closed for the day, closed on the TSX. Fidelity Canada, so happy to be here to officially launch our 5 brand new products in Fidelity Canada's lineup. These opening and closing ceremonies here at the TSX is truly a watershed moment for many business leaders and Canadians. Just some fun facts here on the TSX floor. Fidelity has been an active investor in the TSX listed companies for decades now, playing a major role in the capital formation process for many of the TSX's largest listing. And Fidelity has more than 30 ETFs listed on the TSX with more than $15 billion in AUM. And of course, Fidelity is committed to meeting investors where they are and giving them more ways to grow and protect their wealth. That's it, folks. Thanks so much for joining us live on the TSX. For any questions on our new funds, please reach out to your Fidelity wholesaler or your financial advisor. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.